my son's Euro step, left hand, and jump shot.
Great.
Dude, he actually almost beat me in Papa shot. Like this weekend. He scored 29. Like he just Jays.
Wait, is he a lefty too?
I'm trying to make. I'm like.
Oh yeah, just put everything in his left hand.
I'm like breaking
Open doors,
his. I broke his right hand. Like I'm like really like fucking like psycho dad. I'm like he's only lefty, only Euro step, only jump shot, and already completely brainwashed. Like his poor first grade class, they all know they'll never dunk because he got it into his head, and he's like there, and now he's just spitting it to them.
Sure.
And they're all like just baffled, like why can't we ever dunk? It's just a wild scene, but it's like where I was going, like like. We need to do it because you coming over and like shooting with him, like we'll be like you know.
Oh, blow his
He
mind.
probably knows more about your career than you do. Like all he does is sit on 10 hours of iPad memorizing stats of every. I don't even want to talk to him about sports because he genuinely knows more than me.
Yeah.
He just his whole life. All right.
Ready when you are.
What is it? 318. Hey everybody, this is GaryVee, Nerd Chuck, and this is episode 318 of the Ask GaryVee show. And this is an episode I've been waiting for a long, long time. Not only do I admire this man for what he does in his profession, but watching him evolve, the words that come out of his mouth over the last 2 to 3 years has been inspiring to me. It's really endeared me to him. I've really enjoyed the tons of banter over the last 18 months we've done on DM. I super love dapping him up on the court in the garden.
I was
far
hoping
from here.
were going to drop that.
And then
that
and he also like guaranteed that they were going to win and everything was okay with 2 minutes to go, and then that's what happened. I'm just been watching him a lot, admire him, love a lot about him, and looking forward to getting to know him much more on my personal level, but wanted to give him the platform and the opportunity. You know, I got really excited the other day with somebody else I like a lot, and we didn't get the phone calls. I promise I'm going to stay very committed. We will get the calls in. So if you're watching right now on Instagram, we're going to take the numbers from YouTube and Facebook. YouTube, Facebook, if you got a question for Kevin Love, who is our guest today, extraordinary NBA talent, but unbelievably exciting emerging voice for many things that I'm passionate about in society, is our guest. If you have questions for him about anything that we talk about, please put your phone number and a little bit of a preview of your question. Andy will be picking them, put it into YouTube or Facebook. I know Instagram, I know you guys are watching, and I know that's where most people are watching. So I highly recommend you switching over to Facebook and YouTube for your questions if you are passionate enough. Kev, thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me. It's been a long time coming.
Super long time coming. Before we get into anything else, I love origin stories, like comic book number one. Spit the 3 or 4 minutes of like who you are.
Who am I? Well, I grew up in a basketball family. I heard you talking about your son, 6 years old. The ball was placed in my hand at a very early age. I had a father who came from Inglewood, California, went to Morningside High School. Byron Scott, Lisa Leslie. Went to the University of Oregon, played in the league for 5 years, was around my uncle who was in rock and roll, Mike Love of the Beach Boys. So he had a little bit of, he got to play for the LA Lakers, and then in the summertime got to travel around with the Beach Boys. But
best life ever.
Best life ever. That's probably why
What years did he play?
He only lasted like 4 or 5 years. But that was probably, exactly. But he was before his time.
Years?
He was, I think it was 71. He was drafted ninth by the Baltimore Bullets. Yeah, and actually on his draft card it said "good jumper for a white guy."
No way.
I didn't have that. Yeah.
I get it.
That wasn't
wait. 71 to the Bull. That was big time teams.
It was a big time. Wes Unseld.
Yep.
My middle name.
Pearl
is Wesley. Yep. After Wes Unseld. Yep.
Cool.
Earl the Pearl. Exactly. And then he played on. He played with. I'm trying to think on the Lakers. Connie Hawkins, Gail Goodrich, Elmore Smith blocked 17 shots in a game.
By the way, Connie Hawkins, I'm just, I like to interrupt, so let's get used to it. Connie Hawkins is one of the most interesting all-time basketball players,
ever.
In my opinion.
Well, his story, one time about origin stories.
Fucking blackballed from league for gambling.
Insane.
Dr. J basically co-signs him as like, I'm Dr. J because of Connie Hawkins.
No, he was basically MJ or Dr. J before those guys. He was the guy, my dad used to tell me, he would pick it off the ground, either hand, go up, and it was, just put it down. He was, unbelievable.
So it was like, it was destiny from the get for you?
Pretty much. Yeah, like I said, the ball was...
Did you love it?
Always loved it.
Always loved it.
And I was the kid, I remember telling my best friend's dad, he likes to... tell the story of me coming back from my first day. We lived right across the street from each other. And he would say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, I'm going to be in the NBA. It was just so matter of fact that, I taught myself, or I really spoke it into existence.
But he as a dad... didn't laugh at that the same way, given the DNA, right?
Given the DNA. And
Yeah.
he was around those teams when we were young in Portland where it was Rick Alderman was the coach, and it was Terry Porter.
The Duck.
The Duck. Oh, the Duck was
The Duck is
a monster. It was only, for
Cliff
sure.
Robinson as a
Cliff
rookie
Robinson.
from UConn.
Yep.
I
Terry
remember-
Porter.
You have to understand why I know those teams so well. So literally the human that I hate the most on earth is Michael Jordan. Like number one. Number one on my list. Brady's a close second.
Sure.
And that's completely predicated on my Jets Knicks
Yeah,
love.
I was going to say.
And like I don't understand Knick fans in their 40s that like MJ. I
Right.
really don't. I genuinely don't. I don't understand it.
He
So, like,
tormented you guys for years over there.
I
mean,
don't
it's-
understand it. Like respect is different.
Right.
Please let there be no confusion. I understand who the player was, but fuck that.
Right.
So you don't know how much I love those those Blazer teams because I prayed to God that they could figure out how to beat
in the
them.
finals and all those times they faced them. But it's interesting to me. You talk about MJ, like how same thing with Bron. Like what guys would have taken that next step.
See, the funny thing
To
is,
be
like, obviously you played
the
with
guy.
Well, it's funny, and obviously you played with him. Like, I love Bron mainly because the day I heard of him when he was like fucking 16, immediately, no different than Felipe Lopez, which went in a different direction,
Sure.
or anybody else that even begins a conversation of a chance to be better than MJ. Like, my heart and soul, I've never, when you guys won that title, like, I hate every team but mine.
Sure.
But that win against Golden State was probably the most excited I've been for any other team but mine because I knew that it would add momentum to getting the debate with LeBron and
for
MJ.
sure.
I knew how big of a historic win that would be
huge.
for the debate.
Yeah, and it was unprecedented. I mean, I can remember, speaking of stories, I can remember we were in Oakland. We went to their practice facility, the Golden State Warriors, and it was the one, Thompson had started talking about how they were better than the Showtime Lakers. And,
Yeah, I remember.
that was kind of a shot at his
I
dad as well.
remember.
I grew up
Yes,
with Clay.
yes.
So we're going over the Bay Bridge, and that commentary is just still picking up. It's on Twitter, it's on Instagram, it's on all these social
Sports
platforms.
radio. Yep.
Oh, sports radio, everything.
crazy.
And that's when Bron just said, he looked around and goes, you know what, guys? It's written. We're going to win tomorrow night. We're going to have a huge game. It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to the last few minutes. We're not losing at home. Game 7, anything can happen. That's how it played out.
It's crazy.
It still gives me chills thinking about it.
The crazy part we're going to bounce back high level, but we're super narrow. I had to go to Cannes in France, which is the big market. It's like the Super Bowl for marketing companies. I was on the flight to Cannes during that Game 7, and literally, for some reason, everybody went on Wi-Fi, but for some reason, my phone, because I don't have a laptop,
Sure.
like my phone was getting the update play-by-play on ESPN faster by like a tenth of a second than everybody else around me, and everybody was like, and it's overnight, and you got to get sleep because the next day in France it's the next day, and you got to go.
No,
Nobody's sleeping.
there's nothing like sports
and
glory. You
I'm
gotta
like
watch that.
literally like standing like it was insane to play that whole fourth quarter on your phone, getting update by update by update. And by the way, a lot of the people that go to Cannes are from San Francisco, the tech companies and all that.
Sure.
By the way, on the record, 98% of Warrior fans are straight fucking bandwagon. Big shout out to Jim Lanzone from CBS Interactive. You're the one true fucking Warriors fan that I know. All you fuckers at Facebook and Google and Uber, you motherfuckers didn't even know Golden State was in San Francisco
Right.
a decade ago. I was there. Fuck you. You don't know if Mitch Richmond took a shit on your face, you wouldn't know who he was. So get the fuck out of here with your bullshit bandwagon fandom.
You're raising a little Chris Mullin too, so.
Yeah, man, dude. They don't know fucking Tim Hardaway, Chris Mullet. They don't know.
no.
They don't know
Weber.
anything about that shit. So anyway, a little pent up Knicks anger to start
I
the
hear
show.
you.
Kev, go way back. So you're playing, and you're just good always, or no?
Always good.
Always good.
You know,
That's the
it
truth.
was.
You're like,
I mean, and I was always
honest.
big. I mean, we
Yeah.
talked about it before we came on. Like
Size matters in basketball.
I was a big kid. Yeah, size mattered, but I always had the skill. Like my dad had the foresight to know where the game was going. He put the ball in my hands, wanted me to play all 5 positions, but he also wanted me to shoot from deep.
Yeah,
like I think my dad was ahead of his time. He is 6'9", and he was about 210 pounds, 205 pounds. I was, 6'9", 280 at one point. And no, he was really ahead of his time,
What was
but
your
he
favorite
could tell.
junk food?
Say it again.
Like when you were fat, right? Which was like.
See, I was just the glutton for the sake of being a glutton. It wasn't like I had anything in particular.
Did you go on tilt the other way and say like all these people think I'm out of shape? I'm just gonna go even worse and still ball on them?
Yeah,
I believe that. I actually understand that.
I was
Literally my hot take on this whole issue.
Naismith actually was a little subtle brag here, not so subtle. I was National Athlete of the Year my senior year.
Yeah,
And
that's
if you
just a
looked at
straight
me,
humble
it would just
stun you.
It would stun you.
Yeah.
You would look and be like, this guy?
I wish social media was further along back then, because
Oh,
I think
yeah.
you would have made some ridiculous content, like squeezing
100%.
your gut and like just doing dumb
yeah.
like 15-year-old shit.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because I have no shame in that stuff. Like,
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
now you talk about, and then we'll
Well, by
get
the
into
way,
it.
I apologize, but that's where we're about to go. Like,
Yeah.
I think some of the things you're talking about, like when you started talking about mental health issues and other things you've talked about, like
Yeah.
when I watch you from afar, I'm like, that's really good parenting, really good DNA, and really good circumstance, because that kid is not insecure. We
not
have
anymore.
insecure. Well, that's right. That's the manifestation of it.
Sure.
So like, there's the things back to your weight maybe you weren't insecure about that people thought.
Yeah.
Clearly, there were things you were insecure about. We
Yes.
all are.
For sure.
But this is the manifestation of you evolving to closing the gaps in certain parts of your insecurity.
Yeah. And you're so susceptible to change early on. That's why I think with anything mental health related, whether it be, because I have a saying, kill the body and the mind dies. Like, so many kids early on now are just killing their bodies, just to the extent of, you're seeing more.
To look good, to be a good athlete, to have like ripped, like all the weird shit you see.
Everything.
Where, like, a
It
6-year-old has a
transcends.
six-pack.
Yeah. No, it's really crazy. Kids are picking up weights earlier on, the
Yes.
load on their body. They're specializing in sport earlier on. And I have no problem with that. I played basketball and baseball. There came a point in time where my dad was like, okay,
Yeah,
you're,
but
you're
now,
going to be
like,
what, Randy Johnson? You're
now-
not left-handed. You don't have a mullet. It's just not going to
By
be
the way,
you.
I think you could fucking rock a good
I could
mullet.
fucking rock a good mullet. And I would be like a David Wells, where I'd probably pitch hungover and do a perfect game, and I'd be in a Yankee uniform, and that would be incredible.
But to your point, right? Like how, literally I said this, I spoke to the Rutgers football team this morning, and one of the things I was talking to one of the coaches on the way out is, literally, this is not a joke, and this is gonna be really meta. I've been thinking a lot about like this question I get asked a lot, which is like, what business, if I, like, much like I started VaynerMedia when I was done with the wine thing and like just literally started at scratch, and it was left field for me to build this coming from the wine world.
Yeah.
What business would I start? And I can't stop thinking about this one thing. The number one business as of this moment that I would start in the world is something in youth athletics, because the utter delusion
it's
of every
at an
parent.
all-time high.
That 99.9% of parents that are listening to this podcast right now are so fucking delusional that they think their kid is going to the league when they have no prayer. Like, America, your kid is not playing shortstop in baseball. Pay attention. Like, what is the matter with you?
Sure.
Like, literally, I'm like, I'm going to build a fucking billion-dollar business exploiting the fact that people are taking kids that will never play college sports and training them like they're going to be fucking LeBron.
Right.
Delusion.
And
that's why a lot of kids are going too early to one sport, because their mom and dad are saying, if you want to get to the league, we need to decide now. And instead of kids being happy and well-rounded, their parents are fucking brainwashing them that they're going to be on the fucking World Cup soccer team, but they have to give up football, basketball, Fortnite, happiness, and fucking everything else. Meanwhile, that kid sucks. No, really, and I mean it. I want to use sucks because I'm hoping one parent listens and like, actually, you know what? That might be true.
Yeah. No, I have no problem with saying that. I'm with you on that. I'm tired of all these participation trophies, people, families that think their kids are that good. Listen, I believe that youth sports is a great way to transition into life, because it teaches you people skills. It
100%.
teaches you either how to be a leader or a follower, or being able to follow, then turning into many different things. And it segues you into different, really a lot
Adversity.
of different
Sports is good because
all
you
of
lose.
It teaches
And
you
we're
a
trying
number
to
of
fuck
things.
up sports in America by not letting kids lose.
Exactly. And it's terrible. I was just at the Aspen Ideas Conference, and we had talked about that. There was a lot of scowls out there, and I imagine those are the parents that are the ones that you're talking about.
I went to Brilliant Minds in Stockholm. It was super fancy.
Yeah.
And I went out there and gave a 10-minute straight from the hip first time talk around entitlement. And let me promise you what went through everybody's mind.
Yeah.
I suck. Because you can't because we're raising zoo animals.
Right.
Like, listen, I wish I was in the league. You think I want to sit courtside and watch you? I want to fucking play. But self-awareness kicked in.
I would foul the shit out of you.
Yeah, and I would have found
I would
like
put
I'm
you
the
on the
weirdest.
ground. Yeah.
I actually would like.
I would turn into Oak, and I would just.
I'm 94 Knicks now. Like there's guys that play with me here. Like, I'm trying to hurt people in pickup. Hurt now.
Yeah.
My own employees and friends. Like me and AJ, my brother, can't play on the same team in our pickup games anymore because within the first 30 seconds, everyone's on tilt.
So you basically created your own Jordan rules for the people that you work with? They come in the
by
paint,
way,
they're getting
let's
put on the
educate
ground.
the youngsters. Like, want to remind everybody
Oh,
about
I'm sorry. I
patience.
don't know the demographic. I'm assuming
like,
it's...
No, it skews all over the
Yeah,
place,
yeah.
but a lot of young people watch me have no idea that Jordan often was positioned in the mid to late 80s as never having a chance to win a championship, never going to get through the Pistons.
Look at who he had to go
ball
through,
hog,
exactly.
this and that. And like literally some of my last enjoyable moments was watching like clotheslining Jordan, Pistons sweep. Like, I love that they walk. I know that they get shit on for walking off after the Bulls finally got through them.
Sure.
I love it. Fuck him. Let him have no enjoyment.
Yeah.
Anyway, nonetheless, let's not get sidetracked too much. We've been alluding to it. Obviously, you have this great career. Let's talk about for 5 seconds your recruitment to where you played college ball.
Sure.
Because I have a really funny story that I think I might have once told you on DM or a call. I don't know if I've gone to a significant college basketball game in the last 15 years. It's just the nature of how busy I am. But ironically, Omid Ashtari, I hope you're listening or watching right now, Omid, real good friend of mine who worked at CAA, took me to a UCLA game. Like somehow in this one weird window, I went to a game. And it was your freshman year.
Wow.
And I remember like
Who were
watching.
we playing?
I don't recall. I don't want to
Okay.
bullshit it. But I just recall like the three of you were standing out to me.
Yeah.
Collison and Russ. And I remember like that, like he was super pumped. He's like, these fucking freshmen, they're going to be fucking awesome. They're going to make a real run in the tournament. Because I'm so busy, the one thing I mandate at VaynerMedia is that every employee fills out a bracket for March Madness, and then the winner gets a huge prize. It's like a company-wide thing. I'm fucking crazy about it. But I'm so busy, I'm headline reading for my picks. And I remember that Omid brainwashed me about you and your crew, so I had you guys going super fucking far. Like, I think I had you losing in the finals, so I was super pissed when you guys underperformed. So there's that. However, let's talk about how you got to UCLA. Like, was it always them? Was there, like, always them? Did something weird happen? I'm fascinated by the recruitment
So,
process.
you go back to the origin story here to back up. My dad actually played at Morningside High School. Jim Herrick, the great Jim Herrick, was his assistant coach
That's cool.
at Morningside High School. So they would play one-on-one. They go back and forth. And, then those great teams like the 95 National Championship team.
Yep.
The O'Bannon brothers, Tyus Edney with, 4.8 seconds to get to the Final Four. So UCLA
was it the following year
always...
when they lost to Princeton or the year before? I'm confused. I think
I'm not certain.
all I
no.
remember is I picked Princeton in my bracket and they stunned him, and
Yeah.
like I was a hero
You
for
were
a
the
day
guy.
on campus. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's like the Richmond Spiders upset that I picked against Cuse my freshman year of high school. I wrote it on the blackboard before every class.
I mean, Q's always finds a way. Jim Boeheim, they always, no, I was kidding.
So you were always destined to go there?
I feel like I was. I mean, Oregon was
consider-
always in my backyard.
You always considered it a little bit?
Always. And Nike, I mean, it was just like
Yeah.
Phil Knight. I lived everything. If you're from Oregon,
But
it's
from a
everything.
pedigree standpoint, unlike football.
And my dad went to University of Oregon. So that
was it
was, I grew
close?
up going to the football games. I grew up
was it
going to those
close?
games. It was close between North Carolina, where it was Roy Williams, and they had just come off winning a national championship a couple years prior.
Was that a part of you doing shit like, hey, it might be cool to be on the East Coast. I've always been a West Coast kid.
And it was the Duke and UNC rivalry.
wanted to get into
it
that?
was, the ACC was,
Of course, still,
unbelievable.
of
But
course.
UCLA had been to 2 straight Final Fours at the time. Ben Hallen was, very good at teaching his guys and having his guys go to the next level and have success. And I think that continued.
Remind me where we were in the high school, coming straight out of high school versus
2 years removed.
from
So I
you
think
were forced to,
2005 was the
So you
last
had to
year.
go to school.
Had to go, but I probably would have gone out.
You would
yes.
have? Flat
Yes.
out?
Flat out.
Did you fundamentally know you were going to be one and done?
Yes.
Knew
Always
from
knew.
day one.
Yeah, it was no secret. So they came down to UCLA and North Carolina, and finally Kerry Keating, who was assistant coach there at the time, still heavily involved in California, not only athletics but basketball as well. He just said, are we doing this? I remember I was at a tournament in Vegas where they have, the 500 teams.
He just went in for the kill.
You play five games on fucking
He found the
Sunday
right
to
moment.
win. Yeah, he found the right moment. I was like, okay, you got me. Committed to UCLA. Ended up going. That was my rising senior year. Ended up going to UCLA and made best friends with Russell Westbrook, and we just talked about how we were going to the NBA every single day.
So cool.
Yeah,
And you guys did, and
and we
you
did,
well.
and they were 4 and 5 pick. Pretty cool.
Very,
And
very
we were
very
roommates.
Cool. It's real cool.
Yeah.
Real cool. So, what's the, just as a random question, because I really want to get into some of the off the court stuff. What was the biggest surprise of, you had a dad that was in the league, you're groomed for this, the pedigree, It's fucking 24/7. Even when it wasn't, it's running in the background. What was the biggest surprise?
There is nothing you can do to prepare for
The speed,
the grind, but playing in Texas against Dirk or Tim Duncan, flying back home on a back-to-back in Minnesota and playing KG in the Boston Celtics. There's just nothing you can do. You're playing 2 games a week in college.
right?
In the tournament, you're playing, Thursday, Saturday, Thursday, Sunday, and then you wait till the next week, and then you go to the, Sweet 16, Elite 8, Final Four.
Right. So not only is it the volume and speed of which the games come at you, you're also
the
playing against the best
talent.
fucking players in the
and
world.
And we had we had lottery picks. We had, guys that were first rounders, guys that have huge success in the league in the Pac-10 at the time, Pac-12 now. But there's nothing you can do to emulate that. I played Dirk and Tim Duncan within the first 5 games of my career. Tony Parker put up 55 points on us. I'm like, this is the NBA? So I got
meanwhile,
blindsided.
you're like 5 minutes away from playing like a video game with Tony Parker, and like he's not that
100%.
fast.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's what we did is we played video games all the time in our locker room at UCLA, and we're like,
of course.
like I'm gonna pick, Bron, and okay, I'm gonna pick, the Lakers. I'm gonna be Kobe and everything. Then you get there, and it's like, okay, Kobe's putting 40 on us every single time, and there's nothing you can do. He'll tell you right straight to your face. He goes, "You guys don't have a chance tonight. It's Friday night, and I'm the show. I'm going after."
Who's the one player that you like warm, tucking in, you're checking in, you get on the court, and then you actually see him, and it was like actually the biggest response you had, whether it was something funny, an inside joke because you remember being at a camp, or whether it was Kobe and you're like, fuck, this is actually Kobe.
It's Kobe. Not 100%.
Yeah.
Kobe. Because there's just, and this is no disrespect to Bron, because he brings them out too, and there's that energy in the gym. You're getting everybody's best game.
Yeah.
Your whole mindset shifts too when you get on a team like that. I mean, we were a super team, and we were a team that was expected to go to the finals, expected to have the potential to win a championship.
Yeah.
But when I first got into the league, Kobe Bryant, it didn't matter if it was a soft Tuesday in Minneapolis. Kobe's bringing them out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a buzz in the city that Kobe is there.
Yeah, and like the worst part, which I still want to punch every person in the building when I'm there, like Kobe drops the first bucket, it's 2-0 Lakers at Minnesota, and 73% of the audience is cheering.
Oh no, it was by
the
way.
way,
It's a Minneapolis Lakers. It's a home game for them. But I mean, it's like everywhere they went.
This is why it's great that I ended up being a fucking professional athlete, because like at 2-0 when Kobe hits that jump shot, I'm like running back down the court, like trying to argue with fans, like fuck you, leave.
Right.
I hate visiting fans. When I go to visiting games as a Jets fan, I don't say a word.
I'm trying to think of who you would what's like looking in a mirror for you in
like
this league
Ron
today.
Artest meets like whatever the worst things that have ever happened in sports.
Yeah.
That.
Okay.
Because I'm willing, like it gets
so you were like
painful.
Speaking of Randy Johnson in the Seattle Mariners, like you were like a Lou Piniella. You take out the base and you throw the shit.
I get to it, not in life. What's crazy is not in life. In business, people like steal $1 million from me. I'm like, phew. And that's why I have to be careful to not project. Maybe what I hate about being a fan is I'm not in control.
Sure.
Like when I'm in control, like the CEO of this company, everything bad, easy. Maybe I'm just frustrated as a fan, like fuck, like right? Like maybe that's what it is. So maybe I actually am completely full of shit and it's completely the other way when I would actually be on the court or field. But no, because when we play, I'm like crazy.
So speaking of out of control though,
What's that?
Your elbow was you put like your foot underneath.
Yeah, like a step on it. Like I don't like when you're not like. Here's my thought: when you're not,
and he's been begging me this whole time to come out and play some ball. Like
I'm always scared because while you're still, when you retire, it'll be easier.
Okay,
because, like,
yeah.
When you're active, I'm like, fuck. What if I get weird and like then it's like on like then if people actually found out the real story, it'd be like really fucked up. Like
Right.
I'm always scared. Like I invite Jet players over and we hang and like sometimes with them. I'm like, fuck. I better be careful here because I actually care that they're
I'm
healthy.
gonna be taking HGH and testosterone at that time too. So
in perpetuity.
I'm gonna have rage fits and just go after you.
Let's jump to it because I don't want it to get away from us. Let's talk about some of the things you've been talking about.
Sure.
Some of the things you're passionate about because I think it's uncomfortably important,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you're building momentum. Just like I think about so many people that have brought so much value, whether it's Kurt Flood or Jackie Robinson, with color barriers or just all these things. Watching some of the stuff Kyle Korver's talking about.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about what I believe you and a couple others have started the momentum conversation. For a lot of people that don't even know where I'm going, set it up for me and give me the context, tell me the backstory.
Yeah, it's everything that you're alluding to is mental health related. I've dealt with not only panic attacks, but anxiety and depression my entire life. It's just something that I've always dealt with. I suffered silently until I was 29 years old. I had an in-game panic attack against the Atlanta Hawks on November 5th. It was a scary moment. A lot had been going just devastatingly wrong in my life, and that last pillar to fall was basketball.
That was always your safe place.
It was always my safe place.
Makes sense.
It was a place, it's escapism. Everybody's looking for their escape.
My work is mine too.
Exactly. You work, and for some people it can be whatever their vice is. It can be drugs and alcohol.
That's right.
It can be exhausting their body, like Robin Williams. That was it for him.
Yep.
With Kate Spade, who ended up taking her life, that it was her work.
Yep.
It was everything that she stood for and her image.
Yep.
And that was a big reason that she ended up not coming out and saying what she had dealt with, because she was afraid what it was going to do for her brand and her image. But so I had an in-game panic attack. It was a really scary moment for me. I've talked at length about it, where I actually thought I was having cardiac arrest, and I was looking for something that wasn't there. I'd always had places to go. Like, I wasn't kidding about the rage fits. Like, I know I said testosterone, all that shit when I'm done playing, but when I was young, that's how it manifested, because I didn't really know how I was feeling. I didn't know. I knew what the depression was more so. Like, I wouldn't come out of bed for 2 weeks. I would play my basketball, and I would go into my room, and my brother would say, it was funny, a couple weeks after I had written the Players Tribune article and discussed that everybody's going through something, he was like, oh yeah, we would just wait for you to be Kevin again.
But straight up 2 weeks.
Oh yeah. No, I had moments where it had been, there's little triggers here and there where I've developed a new relationship with both my anxiety and depression, but it was, it could last months at a time. So I dealt with that.
That's one thing if it's overlaying. It's another thing if you're like physically locking yourself in a room for 2 weeks.
Yeah, 100%.
So
I would go in there.
I think everybody here is walking on earth with pressures,
sure,
anxieties, concerns, doubts.
Yeah, and you find ways to hide it. Like, my best friends didn't even know. Like, I would hide.
But how do they not know, Kevin, a 2 week, like, that's where I'm actually going. Like, how would a best friend not know that you're locked up in 2 weeks? Or are you saying every moment I had that I didn't have to go to school or practice, I just run to the room? Or are you saying 2 weeks I'm out and like I may pretend I was sick?
Basically. I mean, there were times where I either wouldn't go to school or, in class I would just be like super quiet. And everybody has their moments with their friends, their girlfriends at that time. There's nothing like, young love, that sort of thing. But no, this was...
You seem super young in love these days.
Oh, yeah.
On the gram.
Yeah, I'm chasing that a little bit. No, it's fun. Yeah.
Keep
So,
going.
oh no, I'm saying no. So when I was young, I just
love it.
Yeah,
It makes me smile. It's good.
I appreciate
really
that.
romantic shit, to be honest.
When you
But
travel,
seriously, I think Kay Love's Instagram is probably the most romantic gram right now that I follow.
Is it? What, you talking about me and Kate, or me?
No,
my
you
my
and yourself.
dog.
Yes, you.
My dog.
No, I know. But like,
my fucking puppy is
everybody knows
legit.
I'm not the biggest fan of dogs. Like, that's a whole meme in itself. Okay. No, you and
that's
Kate.
another podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole fuck. I just got drilled right now in the live stream. But go ahead.
No, so
yes, you and Kate. You guys are like, it's super cute.
Yeah. It's good for my mental health.
I believe it.
No, it really is.
I believe it.
And the traveling and the wine. And
Yes.
But no, I think it came to a point where I was done suffering silently.
Good for you.
I mean, I had such terrible bouts of depression.
I missed the Hawks game. Like, was it? Now I'm starting to remember like subtle things, but I can't drill it. Like, everybody knew. Like, what happened?
Nobody knew. That's the craziest part. So yeah, let me back up.
So what do you do? You asked out of the game?
Yeah, so it was after halftime, and we were down. We were losing to the Hawks, and I mean, let's just call it what it is. The Hawks, except the Hawks weren't very good.
Now I understand.
So we were like 3-9 at the time. I mean, you can look it up.
I remember.
It was really, really not great. And so basketball was the last pillar to fall.
Were you manifesting it on yourself?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm
my
the
worst
reason we're 3-9.
Yeah. My self-talk was
clearly
so
it's not
terrible.
Bron, it's me.
Yeah. It's me, and everything is going wrong, and I have no escape now.
I'm supposed to be this guy for this team.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the variable.
The craziest part about it was...
Makes sense to me from far.
I was an all-star there. I was named to the all-star team.
I know who you are.
So...
No, really. I remember, actually, I want to throw out a compliment real quick because I just fucking thought of it right now. Back to, like, my life got real busy. The Knicks have not necessarily been so exciting, and unlike the Jets on Sundays, it's been hard for me to follow the Knicks the last 25 years the way I want to. Now I've gotten to a place where I can afford.
Well, this summer didn't help either.
No, dude, I'm on so tilt. I don't even want to go there. I've got a screenshot right now of me FaceTiming with KD. I don't know if I've ever recruited anything harder. I feel, KD, I'm so sorry for the last month of what I put you through. I know everybody put you through shit, but I fucking brought it. I gave it my whole heart. I remember you fucking went crazy early on in your career in Minnesota against the Knicks in one rant. I wasn't catching a lot of games, but that's
31 and 31. Yeah, that was at home. Yeah.
I was like, and because I saw you as a kid, like in that game, it was just like, I was like, holy fuck, this guy's real good. Yeah. Like, I was like, whoa, this guy's way better than I thought. Like, you fucking went crazy and hit like a late, was it a game winner in that one or like super late three?
Yeah, so I think I had 28 points and 31 rebounds at the time. I hit a three and that put us ahead.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was like literally a standout game for me all time.
Yeah.
Like, one of the more uncomfortably good performances I've watched.
Against, yeah. I guess it's all relative when you're talking about the Knicks.
31 and 31 is fucking, no, fuck.
Against
that's what's
any
amazing
team, yeah,
about
but
the
it just
NBA.
happened to be your
Do it
team.
against a team that's like the Sixers from 4 years ago. 31 and 31 is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
How many fucking people have ever gone 31 and 31? I bet you it's less than 10.
I think before that it was Moses Malone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Anyway, nonetheless, it happened. Halftime.
Yeah, it happened.
I suck shit. Fuck this. Oh, and then it becomes the cycle, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh fuck, is this gonna happen to the one place that I've been able to protect? Which right?
So that's why I go back to the rage fits. Like when I was young, that's how it used to manifest. And then I always had somewhere to go. Like I'd go to my room, or I'd go and break the video game system or something like that. You know, so. No, I just was like, I have nowhere to go. There's 23,000 people watching, and that even made it worse. So my heart is speeding up, and I'm thinking I'm having like a cardiac arrest, like, and my whole body's shutting down.
So you go to a trainer?
So I'm running around the locker room. Nobody's there. I go straight to my head trainer, Steven Spiro's office. I just fall on the ground. I pass out.
Out.
Like I'm gasping for air. I'm sticking my hand literally down my throat. Like I'm thinking like something's dislodged in there. I'm trying to get something out. And I mean, it was like a full on fucking panic. I'm going to die. I don't know what's happening. Full sweats from the game. And this is it. This is the moment. So I ended up going to the, they got me back. They had me on oxygen. They sent me to the Cleveland Clinic to run some tests. Everything checked out. And then at that point, I was just kind of like, well, what the fuck just happened?
And you knew.
Yeah. Well, I had an idea. So
sure.
that I forget what day the game was on, but that was right before the first time I was like, okay, I'm going to see a therapist.
Good for you. And when from there did you write the article?
Not until March, because there was still so much going on. I tried to hide it for so long.
Of course.
I had to go through my process. So then,
how many? I apologize because I'm looking at time. I know you guys have a hard stop, so I'm going off of that. Like, how many people reached out to you privately after that article? Forget about fans.
I didn't know what to expect because my agent was like, "All right, so." Everybody, this is gonna be big. I said, maybe, but I'm tired of suffering silently. Like I want to play all my cards.
Yeah.
And fast forward to now, like I'm so much more comfortable in my own skin. Just I'm like, this is just what you get. And like, I heard you talk about the other day, like what's your North Star? Like happiness is my North Star, but that's ambiguous for everybody. It's not defined as a one size fits all model.
That's right.
Like, so I'm
That's
chasing.
actually the number one thing I'm pounding at scale on Instagram while I have the youth's attention. Like, money can't be it.
No.
Because it actually isn't for almost everybody.
No, it isn't. And
everybody thinks it is.
I'm not saying that money is a
great enabler of things.
And a great currency, sure.
Yes.
But it's not the only currency that matters. For us now, like,
Correct.
it's time. How much time do you have? It's like elasticity, like between
100%.
money and time. Like, time is our biggest commodity.
100%.
And so that's how I'm trying to figure out. You laughed about my Instagram. It's like, how am I trying to spend my time? And so I'm trying so much more now to I'm pressing send on shit. I'm like, I don't care what people think of this. I'm trying to spend positivity.
I'm not laughing. It really makes me happy on some real shit.
See what I mean? Like if people are like, oh shit, I might need to get out there and travel.
By the way, just when everybody looks, there's a lot of attractive people hanging out with each other on Instagram. It just is obvious to me that it's happy. Like that's what it is. And maybe that's because I know a little bit about. Like I don't know why, but I'm not joking. I'm not just like.
It's authenticity. It took me so long to feel all the way there, and I feel like I'm getting there. But
how many superstars, athletes, celebrities pinged you privately after the article?
I mean, the number of it was probably, I think we got like 8,500 emails within the first 3 days. And I was saying, I was like, all right, you guys have to email me here. so that I can try and get back to and respond to everybody. And then the number just became so outrageous. And entertainers and athletes and musicians, it was, I mean, crazy, in the hundreds, 400 or 500.
It's great.
But mostly it was, I would say the large number, why it became into the triple digits, was because it was athletes. And even Adam Silver has said, every level, has said now.
Retired 7-year-olds.
Oh, yeah.
9.
A lot of football players, too.
Listen, I'll be honest.
They're getting hit in the head. A lot of football players.
And even if they're not there yet, they're you start becoming scared of it.
Yeah.
Like listen.
Well, guys are retiring now. 25.
Derek Morgan.
Exactly.
I don't know if you saw what he wrote. Like, the proudest thing that has happened in my world that I haven't said out loud is we signed Derek Morgan to Vayner Sports.
Yeah. Made
him more money off the field and all the things that Vayner Sports brings to football players, and we didn't make a penny. And we knew we weren't going to make a penny because because we knew he was too thoughtful and worried about it, that he would sign another contract. So we worked with him for 2 years. In the NFL, whoever does the contract gets the dollars, not whoever's the current agent. And it makes me smile every day. And it makes me smile because I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
Because if we were putting pressure on him to sign one more deal to make us ROI positive, but he took 1 or 2 more hits than he wanted to, fuck if it would have actually done something. The perception's fucking reality. And when stuff starts getting in your head that way, I mean, like, I
truly believe too. Like you get what you give. 100%. I didn't realize that. Like that's why I think I'm settled in too now, because I think as an athlete, you're burning it at both ends so fast and so quickly. Some longer than others, depending on we could have a whole talk about longevity as well, right? But it comes at you fast. I'm headed into my 12th season. I was just talking about how Tony Parker and I was putting 55 on us. I was playing KG crazy, and Dirk and all those guys. But I now feel like I have a higher purpose, and I can affect the masses.
Does that make you want to also play a year or two more because the platform is
for
more juice?
For sure,
makes sense.
But yeah, post basketball, I feel like I'm doing a good job of laying the groundwork to.
Who did you stumble across in Minnesota, whether on your team or somewhere else, that all of a sudden in the last 2 or 3 years you're like, wait a minute, I'm old now, like in that funny way that we talk to each other, and you're like, wait a minute, my second year, that fucking old dude that I understand why he like threw the water at thing, or why he was in the corner yelling at that. Like, wait a minute, that was I'm gonna do that. Do you have anything like that?
No, I mean, yes. There's I should write a book. I mean, it's like Collin Sexton. He's 19 years old. I'm sitting there.
The amount of Collin Sexton rookie cards my son and I are picking up right now because we think he's sneaky underrated.
He's sneaky underrated, and he's here. He's here. He was at Basketball City this morning talking to the kids. I'm like, dude, you're 8 years older than these guys. You're 5 years older than these guys.
He's like, hey, kids. You're like,
He's like, let me tell you what I've learned in my career.
Yeah, you're like, sit down.
I'm like, he texted me. He's like, you were here? I was like, bro, you're talking to these kids?
You're the fucking kid.
Yeah, like you're like a year removed. No, but he's...
seems like a good kid.
Yes, but that's the craziest part about it. Like, he's so young. He doesn't even, he's a lot of untapped potential, sneaky underrated, as you said, but he's just so young. And then you look at guys like Dirk retiring this year, or Vince Carter. He's still going.
He's never retiring. You know that, right?
Yeah, he's right.
No, it's in perpetuity.
Yeah. I'm surprised the Knicks didn't sign him.
Are you starting to razz?
No.
Or you're just, I mean, the Knicks, I'm not even going to go here. By the way, on the record, I think the Knicks are blackballed. On the record. I'm pretty convinced, intuitively.
There's no better place to play, by the way.
But this offseason was deeply uncomfortable from the way I think about the world. Like the real world is gray, not black and white.
Sure.
I'm in a very scary place of fear. I never fear. Like, even when the Jets and Knicks have been at their worst, there's no math that makes sense that they didn't get any of the players, which makes me go into deep conspiracy theory. The Oakley thing, top 50 players got into a weird dinner, decided, and we're done. That's literally what I believe.
Wow.
I hope it's not true, but nothing makes sense. Like, you can't be in that spot where the Clippers and Nets get their... Like, they had all the leverage, all the math. Anyway, I don't even want to get depressed on that, in sports depression, to put in context of this room.
People live
Let's do
vicariously.
a call. I knew I was going to fuck this up. Let's definitely do a call. Kev, what is your favorite sports team?
Favorite sports team?
Your personal, like your team that you root for the most.
So I grew up...
If anybody.
I mean, I grew up watching... It's funny. I was a Niners fan because I grew up
That was the
perfect time to
culture.
be and also it was right there within the Northwest. I grew up in Portland, Oregon, and then I was a Mariners guy because they had Griffey and everybody. They've been good for so long.
Edgar, all those teams.
Yeah, Jay Buhner. I mean, I used to play Ken Griffey Jr. baseball
By the way,
and hit the
Jay
cheat code and
Buhner-
just
the
fucking
Jay
knock that
Buhner
shit
for
out every
Ken
time.
Phelps trade that the Yankees made is all time bad.
All time.
All time.
Buhner was the man too.
Dude, Jay Buhner, and he had that look before that look existed.
Yeah.
They were bashing.
Yeah.
He was a beast.
He was a beast.
They like.
So
and
is
then
Edgar
A-Rod
too.
came.
Edgar, they just got inducted. What, yesterday?
Edgar's actually the only person that knew how to hit Mariano Rivera ever.
Yeah.
Like literally
So,
has
dude,
the best
the
data
cutter?
against him.
Nobody can hit the cutter.
Nobody. You got something? Max. Max.
Yeah, how's it going?
Mad
Good.
Max.
It's Gary Vaynerchuk and Kevin Love. How are you?
Good, how are you?
We are well. What's your question?
My question was...
Wait, Max,
from
admit,
the
Max, real quick.
management-
Admit right now
Yeah.
that you are stunned that you actually got called and now you're baffled and you have to come up with a question on the spot.
I'm actually... You know what? I knew you were going to ask this question because I watch a ton of your stuff, so I knew you were going to ask this question, and I knew it was going to come up. But I'm actually kind of not.
Good.
Just by watching the comment section,
Yep.
I knew that I was engaging with the people in the comments enough.
Is this a question?
No, he's making a profound statement of how he tricked Andy to call him. Good shit, Max. Now, what's the question?
He didn't trick me. I grabbed his number a long time ago.
Yeah, Max, he liked the concept you went with. So,
yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, no, my question was from like a management perspective, because I manage a lot of different music artists, so it's a little bit out of the realm, but I was wondering, I wanted to get your input on what is the most effective way to deal with and market talent to get it out to the widest audience base.
Got it. So I'll jump in real quick, and then Kev, if you got anything to add, that'd be fun. The deal with part is impossible because they're fucking artists, which means they act like idiots often, right? And what you need to remember,
Exactly.
but what you need to remember is not to be a dick because they have talent and you don't, and that's why you decided to manage them. Make sense? Like,
Exactly.
people are always trying to like get artists to be like on time. That's not what they do. They fucking write great songs. They create great beats. They perform on stage. Like that's so like I'm always laughing at my manager friends. They're like, "Yo, Gary, can you just talk to this kid?" I'm like, "Dude, you love this kid because he fucking dyed his hair purple and fucking on 1 minute of sleep can go out in front of 40,000 people at Rolling Loud and fucking slay it, not because he shows up on time for a meeting with me, dick." Right? So
Exactly.
I think you need to fucking own what you decided to do for a living and understand you got to take the good with the bad. That's how you deal with it. You don't dwell on what they suck at. You fucking focus on what they're phenomenal at. As far as getting them out there, it's called fucking SoundCloud and Instagram and YouTube, and I spit it 40 times a day, all the time. Put fucking music out. The end. The same advice
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Is it just a pure content play?
Yes. You're in the content business. Every fucking artist ever sucked until they put a banger out.
Exactly.
Like, everybody sucked until they put out a song that made them not suck. Alanis Morissette, nobody knew, killed it. You understand? It's as simple as that. And now that you have SoundCloud and fucking Spotify and YouTube, there's no more A&Rs and fucking MTV and fuck the labels. It's like, no fucking excuses. Get in studio, make a song, put it out, DM 1,000 influencers, hope somebody shares it, fucking then let the market decide. Like, I know everybody gets mad at me for saying like the same advice. It's the right advice. It's like how you get into better shape. Exercise and eating right. Sorry, that's what it is.
Would you do the same thing as like with a clothing brand with the musical artists as far as influencers go? Like, would you pay an influencer to?
Yes, but
Okay.
everything needs exposure. So
Gotcha.
either you're so great that Sports Illustrated puts you in it and you get exposure, or not. And like, yes, I would pay, but you also need to be good. Everything comes back down to merit. Like, I understand how to try to become a basketball player, which is like work on all these skills. But if I wasn't physically inclined to have it, it would mean that I'd be a good I'd be a good like pickup basketball player. And that's what I tell people about clothing brands. Like, yes, you should pay influencers to rock your shit. But if your shit's whack, or if you overpaid the influencer, your skills in it weren't good enough. So like, it's not a one size fits all advice. It's be great at influencer marketing. There's a reason that VaynerMedia does the work for Fila, and Fila did get rebooted, because we're the best in the fucking world at what we do. There's a reason that everybody wants to say they have a fashion brand as an entrepreneur on Instagram, because they printed 1,000 t-shirts. But being a successful fashion brand versus printing 9 t-shirts and calling yourself a brand because you came up with a funny sentence, those are two very different things. And there's a lot of fuckers on Instagram with funny sentence t-shirt companies.
Yeah.
Execution, bro.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate the time.
You got it, bro. How do you think about fashion? You like it? I see you wearing your fucking Stone Cold t-shirt.
Yeah,
like
I rock this today. This is my
Jordan fucking on point.
yeah,
I see what you're
sorry
doing.
about
Like,
that.
that's right. How do you think about it? You like it?
Yeah, I love fashion, and plus, I mean, it's become a huge thing in basketball, especially come playoff time. I mean,
especially
guys
your fucking
are creating,
homeboy from college. I mean, he's fucking.
He's created
He's
his.
just making. I think Russ is just making shit. I feel like he's sometimes trolling the game. Like, he loves fashion, but some of this shit, I'm like, you know what?
For sure,
He's
but
just
he
like,
knows
you know
it's going to get
what? Of
eyes. It's just
course.
like you
He's
said. It's
smart.
going to
He's
create
attention
content, and everybody is going to
Love.
send him so much stuff to
I
try to
can-
influence their
bro,
brand.
I cannot
and it's
wait.
become a runway, and it's become a business.
He's great at it.
Yeah, he's really, really
great
good at it. And oh my God, can you imagine what between PJ Tucker,
Hello?
Russ, and James Harden, what that's going to be
amazing.
like?
Gav.
Hey, GaryVee. How's it going, guys?
Good, man. Say what's up to K-Love.
Hey, Kev.
What's good, buddy?
Hey, actually, my question is, I heard you talking about, being depression and having anxiety attacks and stuff. So my question to you is that how to stay strong and, stay focused on your goals while you're going through that.
Yeah, I mean, that's super. I mean, that's probably the toughest part, because a lot of the time, I mean, for me, it was basically having blinders on and not seeing the effect I was having, not only on myself, but other people. And I also read like a cheap novel, like everybody knows when I'm really going through it. But I always say, for me, it was chasing basketball. It was chasing my vice. It was chasing what I love. And I always feel like if you chase what you love, everything you love will chase you right back, everything you want out of this life. But, you have to find ways to manage it, especially, at your worst times. And a lot of people can't afford a therapist. They can't afford, going to see someone and paying for that. So you have to find tools, whether it be meditation, whether it be exercising, getting that, endorphin release, finding ways to deal with your serotonin levels, whether it be medication.
I've noticed a lot of kids hitting me up about eating. Like, eating behavior has changed
By the
a
way,
lot.
eating changes everything. I just read it.
Sinan wants me to like him and his dad, who's like some crazy Turkish genius.
Yeah.
We're about to I'm about to go there, Sinan. I told you in the back of the card, I'm ready. Take all my blood, I'm ready. I'm about to fucking change my shit up.
You can change your life. Like, your relationship with your body, I feel like is so key. I mean, I know that I've lost so much weight. I've kept the inflammation down in my body. I think chronic inflammation, like I've seen it in my father. I've seen it in a ton of people. I've seen it in retired athletes. I've seen it in, we mentioned football players, whether they're retired or not. Like, when you feel like shit getting out of bed every day in the morning, you're like, this day's going to suck. This day's going to be terrible.
Pain's bad.
Yeah, pain
Mental
management.
or physical.
Well, that's what exactly. But I would just say, yeah, finding different ways to manage it, and finding different ways to change the relationship with, whether it be your anxiety, depression, or any phase of mental illness. I'm a type of person that medication has worked for me. Yes.
Keep going.
Cognitive behavioral therapy has worked for me as well. And science and data has showed that that can actually prove to be more beneficial over time than meds. So, but getting back to the therapist part for a sec, this can be a friend. This can be, listening to your podcast, finding ways to deal with other shit, deal with business, deal with anything that you're into. It can be a family member. It can be, somebody who, a parent of one of your kids' friends. It can be anybody within arm's distance.
This is a place where I tread very lightly because I like talking about shit I know.
Yeah.
And so take it for what it's worth, Gavin. I think one thing that I've seen a ton of messages from is finding somebody who's a little bit further away from your inner circle so it doesn't affect that dynamic. Has been really fascinating how many people have pinged me.
I never thought of that before.
Like when it's your mom or your brother, over time, that can create something within that dynamic, and having the luxury of it being a little, if you think about a therapist,
a step removed.
Or 3 steps removed.
Sure.
Like friend of friend or acquaintance. It's been really interesting.
And maybe that person it comes from an unbiased point of view. It's not going to ruin your relationship.
Not weighted, right? You're talking to your mom.
Exactly.
She's thinking about your dad.
Yep.
There's just so many other variables.
Yeah.
That's what, that's why the therapist so far removed has such value.
They'll probably catch something
back
that
to
you
your
haven't
point,
seen.
not being able to afford it. How does it, sometimes one kid wrote me this manifest. I love reading my comments. It's how I learn so much insights that I'm not going through. This kid talked about something of me talking about like not overjudging yourself. It led him to another thing. Then he read something about something else. What it led to was it being a teacher in his school that he doesn't even have as a teacher.
Sure.
He found it as a removed thing. Like it really worked for him. And I was like, ooh, that's, when you think about the DNA of a teacher, they want to help,
right.
A lot of them.
Yeah. My counselor in high school, when I told her that I wanted to go to North Carolina or UCLA, these places, she was like, your GPA doesn't indicate. I goes, no. I'm going to go to UCLA, then I'm going to go, do
Were you
this.
like, hey,
I was
I dropped 30 a fucking game. Do you understand how this actually works?
Yeah, exactly. But I was just like, to the point, like there's, we talked about the parenting and some of them are just fucking setting their kids up for failure.
It's like practical optimism is amazing and everything else sucks. Pessimism sucks. Delusion sucks.
But instead of just saying that, why don't you say, okay, now show me the tool, show me the way in order to get to that point.
Gav,
what do I need to
chase?
chase?
Do you beat yourself up? Like if I ask you that question, how do you go with that?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
I said, if I ask you, do you beat yourself up, right? Like something happens and you're the one beating yourself up. Is that like part of your framework?
Yes, I definitely do that. I would say sometimes I just I definitely beat myself up for sure.
I've just been spending so much time like with myself. This is why nobody's really seen any content about it. Because again, because of what's going on with me, I want to be very careful to stay in my lane and not overstep. But it's just, I got nothing else to say other than, man, I just want to say one thing. I got so much love for you. Please understand that the voice that beats yourself up, I genuinely believe this. I really don't think it's your voice. I think it's a voice that's been input. Yeah. And I think once you understand that, it liberates you when you start realizing you're not the person booing yourself. And if you can figure that part out, if that could start the part of a thesis or something that you discover, I think it could be liberating in a way that you can't believe what that will do for you, bro.
Yeah, and to know that you're not alone too. Like I think it's predisposition. Like we're all taught early on when we start speaking and start absorbing what our parents are saying, or the people around us are saying, we are kind of taught how to think. Yeah, and that voice in your head, that narrative, that me, can really fuck you up.
Real quick.
So until you start doing that work and then continue, because you can have, it's like I relate it to basketball. You can have a great game and that feeling only lasts for 24 to 48 hours. Whereas you have a terrible game, it's a national TV game, and you feel like you're set up for failure. That could last for 2 weeks. That's how negative thoughts are.
And I'm also trying to think about how to turn that into positive, because like one of the things that's really interesting about me is I do not smell roses. So like back to the Yankees and the Rangers, I dropped them the second after the championship. Like I'm trying to think about why I talk about process a lot of times is like to your point, the national televised game, like it's not that I dwell about it. I don't know. There's something I've been thinking a lot about lately, which is like with everything that's going on with me, I talk a lot about not hearing the boos. I don't give a fuck what you think, but it goes both ways. I also don't hear the accolades. Like so many people, as my notoriety and awareness grows and things that are going on with me, they're always like, man, you're so humble. And every time I hear somebody say that, I say it's because I can't hear your boos. That is literally what happens. When somebody, because they don't expect it, especially the way I am on video and on stage, they get confused by like the humility when they actually get to know me.
Sure.
And I'm like, and it's so funny how intuitive I feel that's completely laddered to me not hearing people that shit on me. Like I don't get high when they cheer. And I don't get low.
We say in the NBA, fail quickly, but it's also having success quickly as well. Like as
I appreciate
human.
it, Gav. I wish you well, bro. Really. Thanks for calling.
Awesome. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
guys. Thank you. Have a good one.
We got
Kev,
him.
one of my favorite things in the world of sports that maps to life is when the home team boos the home team after the road team went on an 11-0 run and you call a timeout. And I've been thinking about this for 2 years. I don't know what it is about that singular moment in all the sports I watch. You know, like I love boxing. One of my favorite fighters of all time just passed away, got hit by a car. You know, Sweet Pea Whitaker, you know, Pernell Whitaker. I don't know if you know that name. And I loved him for defense. He was Mayweather before Mayweather in defense. And I'm a counterpuncher as a businessman, so I associate with him and Floyd.
I would be like the Tyson Fury.
I get it. He's so charismatic.
He's the best.
The best.
And he has a great story too.
Amazing.
He should be on here if he hasn't
I'd
been
like
already.
to get him on here. Tyson, if you're listening, hit me up. I don't know what it is about the home team letting the road team go on an 11-0 run, timeout, and the whole fucking place, everywhere, even like the best teams. Like, by the way, ironically, back to a meta story, I went to the Knicks Cavs opener when LeBron came back. Yeah, best. I was so pumped. So being in that game, right, obviously.
Melo hit that left wing, mid-range.
So like, you know, even like off
Step
all
back.
the fucking accolades and Bron's back in that game, it's the first game back. Everyone's in euphoria. Knicks go on like a 7-0 run, timeout, boo.
Yep.
And I sit there and I'm like, there is something about this home. Back to how I think about life.
It's fragile. It's what have you done for me lately? It's like.
It also makes me want people to think about life that way, which is like you could have a shitty 3 years and it's still just a second quarter.
Yeah.
Life just went on a 7-0 run on you. Like, what's the score at 0-0?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, Bulls, who I hate with all my heart, some of those road Knick games that I went to back in the day, like 6 championships they give these fuckers, down 13-0 to start the game, boo. And I'm like, fuck. And there's something about like how I think about that. How I think, you know, watching Wimbledon the other day. Joker.
Unbelievable.
Like nothing. Joker's by far my favorite tennis player, by far. So I'm in this bar as the match is in the 5th set. And the whole bar is going nuts for Federer.
Of course.
And Joker, and I'm sitting there watching, rooting for Joker quietly because I'm with the fam and I'm trying not to make attention, like I'm trying to stay private. And Joker, that 9-minute game where Federer almost came back from 40 love, Joker breaks through and wins it, and I go nuts.
Yeah,
and the
match
whole bar
points
looks
came
at me.
through.
The whole bar looks at me. And then like 2 guys laughed and they came up to me like, you're not really rooting for Joker. You're just doing that. Like literally verbatim asked me if I just did that for show. I was like, I'm rooting for fucking Joker. And Joker, I think at his best is when he takes on the role of the villain.
Right, but he's trying to embrace, he wants to be well-liked.
Of course, because he's got fucking fuckface Nadal and Federer loved so much.
Sure,
There's no way you're going to win that game.
There's no way, you're never going to win that.
He is going to win that game. I'll tell you when. When he's old. When they're gone, he's the old man.
Because they feel like the underdog.
100%. It's the same way I feel about like Kobe. I hated him my whole career, like his whole career, until when I felt he lost a little bit of a step.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, now I want him to like, you know, like it's what America does: rise, crash, right? You know. So, and I'm all underdog, but like the face he made, like nothing speaks to me more than Joker's face when he fucking is in that match. The whole world, fuck the audience at Wimbledon, is rooting against him. And he looks at everybody and says, fuck you. I love that.
I agree that he has to take on that villain role.
I think
that could get, it potentially could get him the most majors ever.
I fully believe it.
Yeah.
And it's not naturally
because
who
what
he
happens
is.
when those 2 guys are out? He's going to absolutely take over the sport.
When he absorbs it and takes it on, you know what the breakthrough of his career from my perspective was at the U.S. Open. I don't know if you know this reference, where he was in deep shit. It was over. Federer was serving for the match, and he returned this one forehand, which was like such a fuck you forehand that it kind of fucked everyone's psyche, the announcers, the stadium, and ultimately Federer, in my opinion. And he came all the way back and won. And that's what I was like, dude.
I do remember that. I actually watch a lot of tennis. I'm not
when
the
Knicks
biggest
played
fan.
the Cavs last year and we became friendly and it was like a tight little game and like just like watching you down in the last 2 minutes and we were having a little banter and you're like the Knicks came back and like tied it or something and you looked at me and said, no, don't worry, they're not going to win.
No.
I was so pumped. I still hated you. Like I was like, fuck you, dude. But like I loved it because that's exactly what I live for that.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out how to take that negativity and turn it into that versus what Gavin's talking. Like, I will probably spend my whole life trying to figure out how to communicate around the whole world wants to take a shit on you, and you take that and make it a positive, is obviously a foundation of self-esteem, lack of insecurity, many other things. I got to figure it out, because somewhere in there, and I think it's a very fine line.
Yeah.
That to me is the fucking game. But that also requires, when everybody tells you you're awesome, to know it, but not fully embrace it, because then you're fully embracing the booze too.
Right.
And I think a lot of kids that are getting delusional with their parents or getting a lot of success early are stuck late. That's why school fucks people up. You're a straight A student and you think that's life, and then life kicks in and life laughs.
Right. Well, there's no diversity.
It's one system.
Yeah. Life will throw you that cutter.
And somehow Edgar
fuck you
understood
up.
it, but nobody else did.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Thanks
I
for
get
being
it.
on the show, bro.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was fucking awesome. Let's just end it with that.
Cool.
Cool.